Hey y'all, it's Davey Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas where I run the jazz guitar program. I'm a Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist. New Sunnyside Records coming out June 9th, 2023, way back. Got my two Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary and also Into the Labyrinth, An Anatomy of Position Playing for Jazz Guitar. And man, the semester is pretty much done. I turned in my grades just a little while ago, electronically of course. And yeah, whew, it was a doozy, as they all are. But a lot of great playing from my students, and did a lot of great work, etc. But I wanted to talk today about one of the most common progressions in the jazz repertoire, in the jazz literature, rhythm changes slash I got rhythm, and there are a million melodies written on that harmonic framework. And I have to confess that rhythm changes have been torturing me for many years. And I think that they're very hard, and they're kind of foundational to the bebop repertoire. I mean, blues and rhythm changes make up a big chunk of Charlie Parker's music, Bud Powell's music, Thelonious Monk's music, Dizzy Gillespie's music, all those cats. And the original song, I guess, is from 1930, 1929, 1931, something in there. George Gershwin for the musical Girl Crazy, or Review. I don't know if it was a musical, like book musical. And Ethel Merman, that's her tune. And I went to YouTube and various streaming sites. The annoying thing, not to go off on a tangent, but when you're trying to find the dates for things, and you go on YouTube or even Apple Music or something like that, you'll get like Ethel Merman, I Got Rhythm, 1998, it'll say at the bottom. You're like, what? Because I don't know, whatever reissue that they got this song from, that's the date they put for the recording. But that recording must be the one that I was listening to. I assume it's the 1930s. It's kind of hard to track down, and I have all these dates swimming around in my head. But she's in F, the recording that I heard, and it's funny because the A section. Wait, that's B flat. So what am I doing here, y'all? It's hard not to think of that song in B flat. Although Bud Powell has a lot of cool like A flat rhythm changes songs. But I was mentioning it because the A section chords. I think what sort of traumatized me at a young age about rhythm changes was, I think, the first time they threw them in front of me at the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. There was a chart, must have been from like Jamie Aebersold or whatever, and I saw that the chords in B flat were B flat, G7, C minor, F7, B minor, G7, C minor, F7, F minor, B flat 7, E flat major, E flat minor, or maybe E diminished, B flat over F, G7, C minor, F7, and that was the A section. It's an AABA form. You have to do that again, and then the bridge was D7 for 2 bars, or maybe like A minor 7 for a bar, D7 for a bar, D minor 7 for a bar, G7 for a bar, G minor 7 for a bar, C7 for a bar, C minor 7 for a bar, F7 for a bar, and then the A section again. And that was a lot of chords for me at the time, and it's still a lot of chords for me if I take it literally and try to play on all those changes every time. It can be very exhausting. And I mentioned the Ethel Merman, because if you go back and listen to that, what she's actually playing, and see if I can get the melody. The chords that they're playing, it's kind of a 2-beat. It's just F, G minor, C7, F, G minor, C7, F, G minor, C7. It's just 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5. I got my mind. And then the bridge, 2 bars of A7 in this key, 2 bars of D7, 2 bars of G7, 2 bars of C7, F, G minor, C7, F, G minor, C7, F, G minor, C7. Who could ask for anything? D7, who could G minor, C7, F? There's a little 2-bar tag at the end that nobody plays in like the modern jazz realm, but when I would play gigs in New Orleans, kind of more swing and traditional jazz type gigs, that's what they would play. They would play the tag as part of I Got Rhythm. So in a certain sense, the song's a bit simpler. It doesn't have the original song. I mean, assuming that Ethel Merman, that's the original harmony. The A sections are not so complicated. It's kind of just 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. Then again, you start, whenever I do these videos, I end up being the junior musicologist, kind of, or very, very quick musicologist, internet, Wikipedia musicologist. And I was trying to find, like, well, where did, because when I, leaving aside the whole, go back to the key of B flat, the whole like B flat, G7, C minor, F7, D minor, G7, C minor, F7 bit from the first 4 bars, which you could, conceivably reduce down to, like, still reduce to, excuse me, what they're playing on the Ethel Merman record of, like, 1 for a bar, 2, 5, 1 for a bar. But where did this whole going to the 4 chord and then 4 minor, or 4 and then sharp 4 diminished thing, where did that come from? Because I was trying to, like, trace it, because Sidney Bechet has, like, a sort of rhythm changes thing called shag that I found, again, going through, like, the internet and Wikipedia, and like, I think it was 1932 or 1933, but he's playing more of, you don't hear that 4 chord in the A sections. You do hear the tag, though. So then I was like, okay, what about Lester Leaps In? What about Count Basie? Was Kansas City 7 or whatever, I think it's 1939. And there, you get the 4/4, and there you definitely hear you almost kind of hear the B flat 7 over D, E flat, E diminished, B flat over F thing. You almost kind of hear that every time, but you definitely hear you definitely hear, you don't necessarily hear F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major, E flat minor to B flat, but you do hear on the second 4 bars of the A section, B flat over D, E flat 6, E diminished, B flat over F. And I'm wondering, well, they changed the original song to put that harmony in there, and I was like, I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it comes from Honeysuckle Rose, because Honeysuckle Rose was such a hit, Fats Waller at the same time period, and you have that. You have that same harmony in there. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever answered that question, how the 2 ideas got combined, or maybe there's another source for that. B flat over D, E flat, E diminished. So then if you go to 1945, I feel like Phil Schaap, talking, especially if you mention Charlie Parker and you start mentioning, like, specific dates for things. I don't have the day of the week or the month or the time of day that they did it, but Thrivin' from a Riff, it's 1945. It's funny, 1945 too, I think the Don Byas Slam Stewart I Got Rhythm is 1945-ish. It's all pretty close. A lot of this stuff happened in a short period of time. But on Thrivin' from a Riff, you definitely you can hear the piano real clear. I guess it's Dizzy on piano on that, and Miles. And you definitely hear F minor, B flat 7, E flat minor, D minor, G7, C minor, F7, or something like that. But specifically, you do hear the go into the, like, a 2/5 to the 4 and, like, 4 minor at times. And then, the end of Thrivin' from a Riff turns into Anthropology, which is, one of the first, like, rhythm changes melodies that I learned back in high school, the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. I kind of feel like the trumpet and the sax play slightly different notes on it too in certain places. But anyway, so there you get your 2/5 and you get your minor 4 chord, and so that's kind of where we start when we start learning rhythm changes, and I think it traumatizes a lot of young players because we want to introduce it quickly because it's so foundational to the music. There's like the blues and rhythm changes, and but it's tough. So I was traumatized for a long time, and what I do these days when I got to play rhythm changes, the other thing too is like the tempo, right? You know, it's immediately Charlie Parker, like Kim or something that's 300 beats per minute. Although Thriving from a Riff is a very manageable tempo, so I kind of like to think of that one. And these days, so basically, rather than feeling the need to like run those changes every time and feel like I have to hit every chord, which for me, was always sort of maybe one of my skills and also one of my downfalls was to feel like, well, I can hit every chord, therefore I will hit every chord just to prove to the world that I can. And then you listen back to your solo, and not only do you not hit every chord, because it's really almost impossible to hit every chord, but it sounds like, why are you trying to hit every chord? That sounds silly. So these days I try to kind of for the A sections, I sort of try to think B flat, F7, B flat, F7, and then hit that 2-5 to the 4. Either go 4 minor or 4 and then kind of blues, B flat blues over the E flat, over the E diminished. I mean, maybe I could go play it literally, although when I hear Charlie Parker, they don't really play the diminished like that. It's kind of like E flat, 6, and then kind of that sort of thing. Treating the E diminished kind of like B flat blues, major blues. So I try to do that, and not have to go B flat, G7, C minor, F7, B flat, G7. No. It's kind of like B flat, not B flat, B flat, not B flat, 2-5 to the 4, either 4 minor or bluesy stuff, and then B flat, not B flat. And I really got inspired to start doing that and leave out those other chords. And then, occasionally I can play them. I can treat the B flat, G7, C minor, F7 as substitutions on the original chords, which is what they are, really. John Scofield has a great recording of the song We, another rhythm changes contrafact, like a melody written on the harmony of rhythm changes. The album En Route with Bill Stewart and Steve Swallow. It's just so great, man. It's just like, it's really a masterclass in playing rhythm changes as a guitar player, not necessarily running all the changes, but playing cool substitutions and things on the original framework. Having the blues, swinging, manageable tempo, maybe, 200, 220, something like that. I can't remember exactly what tempo they're at, but it's not like ridiculous, ludicrous speed. And man, I love that recording so much. When I heard him do that, I got inspired to start playing rhythm changes again. I was kind of hiding from them for a while. And you have to do it because it happens at a jam session or whatever. People are going to play rhythm changes. You're going to have to play rhythm changes. But after that, I try to embrace them and take that approach. And a couple other things to point out, some cool substitutions. I haven't really talked about the bridge at all either, but that Don Byas 1945 recording, I was just listening to it again. And they play, he and Slam Stewart, it's just bass and tenor sax. And man, he just wails on multiple choruses of the rhythm changes thing. And at some point he does this cool substitution somewhere, I don't know, maybe his 4th or 5th chorus, right on the A section he goes. So basically he goes F sharp 7, B7, E7, A7, D7, G7, C7, F7, B flat. All in those first 4 bars. And he outlines them like very clearly, I think that's exactly what he plays. I tried to slow it down and pick it out real quick. There's the E7, A7. There's the D7, G7, C7, Bach, you know, Bach violin, something where he starts running the changes. It's pretty deep, y'all. 1945. So that's a sub you can put. I think Scofield goes to that at some point in his recording of We as well. And another one you can do, sometimes what I'll do, you know, after I get comfortable doing my B flat, not B flat thing, I'll go like maybe B flat, B diminished, C minor, C sharp diminished, to kind of D minor. Get that flat 3 diminished, going to 3, so kind of 1, 5 of 2, 2, 5 of 3, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. I'll do that a lot. And you know, sometimes basically, if you think of it as B flat, then not B flat, you can just kind of do a lot of different things. Sometimes I'll just go B flat, then go up a half step and play B. And then, you know, the bridge, of course, you've got a cycle of fourths progression, D7, G7, C7, F7, and there's a lot of variations on that. Like I said, right off the bat, you can kind of, instead of 2 bars of D7, you can go a bar of A minor 7, a bar of D7. Do the same thing through the cycle. You could also go A minor 7, D7, A flat minor, D flat 7, G minor, C7, F sharp minor, B7, back to B flat. That would get you there. Eternal Triangle, Sonny Stitt, the bridge goes B minor, E7, B flat minor, E flat 7, and then they double up the harmonic rhythm and go A minor 7, D7, A flat minor, D flat 7, G minor, you know. So you could conceivably maybe play on those changes. You might want to hip the band. Maybe they'll hear it, you know, because we've all played these songs so many times and different things. But anyway, yeah, rhythm changes, man. It's very, very important, and you got to be able to play them at a pretty fast clip. So I'm going to try to demonstrate that at a reasonable tempo, and maybe I'll imply some of these substitutions on the progression of this foundational harmony to the jazz practice. All right, enjoy.